Hi guys, it's that time again. Which is better? And it will be between Nightmare on Being by At the Gates and Aggression Continuum by Fear Factory. And before I continue, I will be leaving links in the description down below to check out songs by AMON and AMARTH. And leave links to check out my Instagram and Twitter pages. They get to see what songs I'm listening to, as well as what my band merch collection looks like. So looking at The Nightmare of Being by At the Gates, this album has such paradoxical conclusions that do not come to mind. It only comes to mind that the Swedes finally decided to extend the previous formula, which with a large amount of meaningful novelties that they can positively surprise. As a result, on this album is an interesting mix was created between old patterns and refreshing their style. When the band focused on their traditional side, for example in songs like The Abstracted Throne, Touched by the White Hands of Death, Cold Salvation and The Paradox, the Swedes proposed very, very good songs, well balanced between the melodies and heavy sound, and at the same time quite diverse in terms of climate, not to be confused with each other. In many tracks, the band sometimes turns into areas of progressive metal, as if the Swedes had listened to some of the Opus albums or even Ishan's solo project and decided to come to it themselves. The effort was excellent because of combining and playing with clean guitars or with keyboard inserts, e.g. the title track, and also Fall Into Time and The Cosmic Pessimum gave an even more varied character to the music of At the Gates and meaningfully refreshed it, even though aging. But the biggest highlight of this album is Garden of Cyrus, which is a calm progressive track with saxophone solos. In this way, the Swedes erased by rather different impressions from the two previous albums. And on this album, they really decided to collect their older patterns and extend them with new, slightly less obvious ones. Keeping moderation in the latter, it all came out naturally, meaningfully, and in good proportions, which is the style which I kind of didn't notice before. Switching gears, we're going to look at Aggression Continuum by Fear Factory. Now, this band has been no strangers to chaos over the years, not solely as a prime subject of their lyrical pursuits. Continuing in the grand stylistic tradition since the Obsolete album, which the band themselves have labelled cyber metal. This is an album that paints a grim post-apocalyptic future that not all different from the one depicted in the Terminator universe, with high kinetic yet methodical and accessible songwriting, drawing heavily from the percussive groove thrash template that was prominent during the twilight of the Bay Area scene initial run in the early 90s, and paid over with a dense and consonant keyboard backdrop. It's a sound that is cold and hard enough to resemble the metal endoskeleton of a cyborg, yet also possess a human warmness that covers it with fleshy exterior. Respects, it's a music that lives and dies by the precision-based assault of the guitars and rhythm section, but the Jekyll and Hyde vocal persona that Bell brings to the table is what pulls the whole thing together, embodying the raw viciousness of Jens Kinnaman of Meshuggah and contrasting it with a clean-cut approach to construction in a refrain section. The moment unfolds in a highly cinematic fashion, with a lone narration likely inspired by John Connor's speech in the Terminator Salvation film, setting the stage for what is to come over a dreary keyboard drone. The opening foray of a Raymond Thrashing Mayhem recode carries an almost jazzy quality to its massively down-tuned guitar and bass-heavy assault, yet the overlay of symphonic keyboards brings in a sense of loftiness that functions as a sort of lingering hope accompanying what is obviously a desolate landscape. Generally, the structure that this song follows is a typical verse to chorus exercise in symmetrical composition, but the degree of contrast between the raw aggression of the former section and the anthem-like quality of the latter is so palpable that the structural simplicity melts away into a singular, finely tuned machine with a wide range of expression that sets the tone for the rest of the album. What follows this highly riveting introduction are a series of similarly structured yet highly distinctive anthems of rebellion and rage. The streamlined pound and disruptor reflects the abject heaviness of the prior song, but it's a bit more groove dominated and bass centered, making it a obvious choice for the promotional single. While the drawn out and cinematic hyperfracture of the title track presents a more frenetic and complex variation on the cyber formulation, it becomes almost an exercise to repetition to note the subtle variations that emerge as this album progresses. But the more melodic contours of purity and the frenzied with happy madness of Manufactured Home definitely make the mark upon this album. The coup de grace of the finale, the end of the line, is arguably the only offering that matches the theatrical brilliance of Recode, as well as matches the thrashing riffwork of every junction and closes the deal with a poignant guitar steeped outro with another inspirational narration. The word swan song gets thrown around a bit when a noteworthy band either hangs it up or loses one of its consequential members, but here the label fits far more than it does with most others, but bearing an unforeseen return of Bell into the fold, of course. Between the sheer level of brilliance going on in the instrumentation and the stellar final vocal performance, this album stands as a towering embodiment of explosive metallic aggression that stands tall among the hours that preceded it, to the point where it arguably outclasses Fear Factory's own seminal second full-length album, The Manufacturer. It's impossible to tell at this junction how songwriting mastermind and guitarist Dino Cazares and the remnant lineup will hope to top this. Regardless of who ends up being tapped to replace Bell, and should this prove to be the final chapter in the STEM anthology that is Fear Factory's career, they definitely ended things at top of their game. Anyway guys, let me know in the comments down below what you thought was the better album. Other than that, thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.